Helmara de Moraes currently works at the U.S. Embassy in Brasilia. Everybody knows them, right? As a regional English language specialist. And, I'm sorry, together with the regional English language officer and team, she develops and implements various English language teaching programs countrywide. She defended her PhD dissertation in modern language at the University of São Paulo in January 2011. And also we're going to have in this talk Jenniffer Uhler. It's Uhler? We say that? Yeah? Am I correct?
It's Euler. And Megan, my video won't start because the host has to start it. So if you can control me, I'll appear.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Let me fix this. While I'm reading, I'm fixing. Doing both things. She's current the regional language officer, okay. Allow panelists, what is that? Ask to start. I asked you. Oh, great. Oh my God. I'm not going to introduce yourself now because I know you have a lot to say and we are so thrilled, so excited to hear about all these resources, what we can have in addition to make our, teaching better than we do, okay? Thank you. The stage is yours, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Megan, for such a wonderful introduction. It's really a pleasure to be here. I love your enthusiasm and the enthusiasm of all the teachers who've joined Helmara and me here today. And I think we're going to jump right into our presentation. I've seen some of your comments about a coffee break, and so I'm going to challenge you to multitask and listen to our presentation while you're having your beautiful Brazilian cafezinho, and I think you'll enjoy it even more if you're caffeinated. So we're going to go ahead and start. Let me share my screen. So both Helmara and I are language teachers by training, but we're also language teachers at heart. And so I want to start off with a little bit of interaction. Those of you that are using the chat box, do you recognize these photos that are here? Right. Oh, wow. Well done, Mariana. Good. So anybody know what these have in common? Perhaps it will help you to also see this photo here. Does anyone know the name of the film? It's an old film, but a classic, at least in the United States, one that everybody's seen many, many, many times. Can anyone name the film? You guys are great. The Sound of Music. I have some words to even help. I'm trying to get your schemata going and activate you for our presentation. Of course, it comes from The Sound of Music, and here's a picture of Julie Andrews and this very famous song about favorite things. And if I had a really good voice, or if Helmara had a really good voice, we would sing for you. But we don't. So we're just going to save your ears that beautiful noise and jump into our presentation. Today we're going to talk about 10 awesome, open, and free teaching resources. I think open and free and awesome are good keywords for teachers. And as you may be aware, the Regional English Language Office, that's part of the U.S. Embassy and Consulates here in Brazil, we work with an entire network of Brazil, has like 100,000 awesome free resources, but we don't want to overwhelm you. So today we're going to talk very specifically about some of the things that we love in hopes that you will go explore those. And you know what they say, when you explore things, one thing leads to another, to another, to another. So perhaps in opening up these resources, you'll find even more treasures in your exploration. And we hope that you'll find a few more of your favorite things. So I'm Jenniffer Uhler, as Megan so nicely introduced me. I'm the director of the Regional English Language Office. I'm here in Brazil as a diplomat. And I'm here with my colleague, Helmara de Moraes, who's the deputy director of the office, and we'll be sharing our favorite things. Right, Helmara?
Yes, hi everybody.
And so I will let Helmara kick it off with one of her favorite things.
Yeah, it's the teacher MOOCs, okay? So here in the screen, you see that using educational technology in the English language classroom MOOC. It's a massive open online course. And why did I choose this one? Because we have other titles. You can explore them at the link you have there at the bottom of the slide, okay? openenglishprograms.org/MOOC, okay? But this one is my favorite because I facilitated this MOOC. Okay, so as Jenniffer mentioned, we are going to give you some, let's say 10 different things, right? So we are not going to explore them deeply, but you can go there, okay? You can go to the website and see the other courses that are available. And why is this one so special? Jenniffer, can you move the slide?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, because this MOOC specifically connects different dots, okay? Because now we are all virtual, so we need to be, let's say, very careful on what we use and all the resources, all the technological tools that are available. And this MOOC here, it's a 5-week course that are 5 different modules, okay? It connects technology and language, technology and learning, technology and English. And then we have technology for English language learning. Okay, so this specific course here is more or less like at the intermediate level in terms of English knowledge. So I think that it can be explored in different directions and more advanced if you want to explore it in from different perspectives. But it covers the 4 abilities. Okay, so reading, writing, listening, and speaking, vocabulary and grammar, and technology integration. These are the names of the modules that we have. So it's very nice to see their perspective, always, you know, focusing on the abilities and leading you to the use of technology. And one of my favorites there is the use of fan fiction, okay, for projects with students. They get very excited with the idea, for example, of being part of a detective story, okay, of getting into Sherlock Holmes story, or even in a, let's say, being part of let's say any different kind of story that you can think of, and then they write about it. You need to go there and check. Yes, Jenniffer, let's move on.
That's right. You have another favorite thing. I know you don't just have one, so why don't you share with us another?
Many, 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 and we can only share 10 today because time is short. This second one here is American Teens Talk. So it's one of our publications. It's available for free, okay? Everything that we produce is available for free. You can go to americanenglish.state.gov. The website is there at the bottom of the slide, okay? You can download the book. You can download everything, okay? You can download the book. You can download the audios if there is any audio there. And this book here explores the 4 skills, vocabulary. It has a bottom-up and top-down approach. It's very interactive. You have natural English there from the teenagers, you know, that join, that took part in this project. Words that are used from, you know, kids of their age, you know, teenagers of their age. And it's multicultural and reflective of the US. Yeah, and here it builds on the schemata of your students, okay? Because the units are subdivided in this sense. You have interviews, there is a photo, the first and the last question of each of these interviews. These questions are the same, so you create like a continuum there so that you can explore this with your students, and vocabulary and discussion questions. And why is this so interesting in my perspective? Because it's very close to their reality, okay? This is what these kids live. It's their lives, their perspectives. So if you use this material with your students and explore, they relate to it, it resonates, okay? So they see, oh, I can that's how I do it, or I can relate to that story. That's part of my reality. So I think that it really adds using something close to authenticity with your students. And now there is another one. Yeah, Jenniffer?
Yeah, so we have a lot of resources from the US government. Some of them are on our website, as Helmara mentioned, americanenglish.state.gov. And especially in these times of pandemic teaching, emergency remote teaching, hybrid teaching, we have a new vocabulary about how we teach. These resources are more useful than ever in making our classes a little bit more interesting, or perhaps giving good homework assignments. And so I want to share with you a specific resource from Voice of America. I think all of us know Voice of America, but maybe you visited a long, long time ago and haven't returned. Voice of America has an entire website that is dedicated to learning English. And they have one particular feature that I think is really interesting. And I want to show you a video. So let me do some fancy things with our sharing so that you can see the video in the background while I talk. I'm going to play it without sound. If you're curious about sound, you can go to the website. But English in a Minute is a 1-minute English vitamin for you and your students, often around an idiomatic phrase. So here is one from during the pandemic about cabin fever. I have cabin fever after 3 months of working in my house. Maybe you have cabin fever. I think you can use this very creatively in a WhatsApp group, in an online lesson, or perhaps as homework with your students. Everything is made for English language learning. It's slow and careful with vocabulary, and it's put together by people who have backgrounds in English language teaching. So this is a really great resource, and I'll let you explore it yourself. I hope you don't feel bored and trapped today, that this has been a little bit more lively, but it's a resource that is available to you. And in addition, let me just stop that share and go back to our slideshow. There we are. In addition, I want to point out to you that on the Voice of America website, there are different leveled contents for beginning, intermediate, and pre-intermediate students. In fact, there's also a multi-week course that has audio and video for learning English. So it's a very good supplemental material for your students that is at different levels. So if you haven't been there recently, I would encourage you to go back, because it's definitely one of my favorite things. Helmara, do you have another favorite thing?
Of course I do. There are so many interesting and exciting things. And here you'll see that American English is also on YouTube. Okay, so we have a YouTube channel that shares different videos, and there are playlists. You see there, you know, the screenshot is in Portuguese because of my computer, right? But you have, for example, videos from students there, and you also have, you should go there and explore, because you can use these directly with your students, or you can adapt. You can use the material for your own learning purposes. You can get together with other colleagues and explore the material that's available there for learning, you know, learning together with peers, okay? And Jenniffer, in the next slide, there is a special thing, you know. Remember, I talked in my first activity, I mentioned the MOOC camp, okay, that I led based on the MOOC for education, using educational technology in the English language classroom. So what did they do now with the pandemic and everything? Our office in Washington kind of gathered different webinars, okay, focusing on specific topics. And that's very helpful for us, okay, users of this channel. For example, here you have a screenshot on educational technology, on using technology in the classroom. So you see there are 10 or 12 webinars. It's a playlist, okay, where you have the topic being focused. For example, here you have embracing social media to engage students and teach narrative writing. You have OER resources. How do you deal with them? How do you use, how does open educational resources impact learning? So you see there are different webinars. And how can you use this? What's the beauty of this? Why is this one of my favorites? Because you have everything kind of curated. There are other playlists too. For example, on culture, you need to go there and explore. This one, using education, using technology in the classroom. So you can, for example, work with your colleagues, other English teachers, and you said, oh, you watched this webinar, I watched this other one, then we get together and share, okay, and discuss. So go to our YouTube channel there and explore. Yes, Jenniffer?
Okay, so we're up to number 5 of our 10 favorite things. And Almada talked about MOOCs for teachers. And so I'm going to talk about MOOCs for learners, which are for learners of all ages. So it could be young people, could be old people, could be medium old people or medium young people, whatever category you find yourself in. Now is a great time to take a massive open online course. And this course is on media literacy. In a time in which fake news and all kinds of issues are really important to education, I think, oh, my screen stopped sharing. Let me reshare it. At a time when fake news is important, when it's important to understand exactly, what is going on, what's real, what's not real, this MOOC is so useful. It's open, even extended beyond, I believe, the dates that are listed there through the end of July. It is at the intermediate level. It's available for anybody. And the resources are very, very practical from an education perspective and combining English and media literacy. So how can your students expand their horizons to read in English, not just in Portuguese, but when they do read in English, how do they know which sites and which information is accurate and real? And so I want to show you specifically a screenshot. Like there's this 5 tools for media analysis. They're all self-paced, so there's nobody telling you you have to do this in this order at this time, but rather you go and take what you need from the MOOC. It's an intermediate level. If you're very motivated pre-intermediate, okay, but you need a pretty good working level of English to manage the site and to get the most out of the content. I think advanced learners can also get something out of the content. As a teacher, you can use it and steal some of the ideas to replicate in your classroom, because all of the videos, the graphics, the readings, they are open and free for you. So it's like an interactive textbook where you've got dialogues and short recordings and readings, quizzes, and at the end you can receive a digital badge. So this is something your students could do in their free time, you can do in your free time. We have 5 MOOCs in total. I'm not going to tell you about them all because this one is my favorite. But if you would like a learner MOOC, we have MOOCs on media literacy, journalism, STEM, business and career development, and you can find them all on americanenglish.state.gov. All right.
Yes, Jenniffer.
Number 6.
Number 6?
Oh, this is really my favorite because I don't know how many of you have been to Washington, D.C., but I hope that one day you will have the chance to visit because it's a beautiful city. And one of the treasures of my country are the Smithsonian museums. And they're a set of museums that are free to the public with curated art and science and books and all kinds of information. And more of that is available online. And so the Smithsonian has a website called the Smithsonian Learning Lab. And I have to warn you that this website is addictive. So I went there to find material for this presentation, and I started looking at maker resources and readings and pictures and experiential things I could do with my classroom. And I got really, really excited because I could see space for teachers to use this content, for assignments for their students. One thing that I love to do as a teacher is to use pictures, because I can use a picture with a beginning level student or an advanced student with different kinds of tasks and get a lot out of them. So we're in COVID-19. I was thinking about this when I was looking in Smithsonian. And so I want to show you one of the curated lessons that is available to you on the Smithsonian Learning Lab and see what your reaction is. Masks. They have hundreds of pictures of masks together with pedagogical activities, ideas for the classroom, some philosophical questions. And maybe you can imagine how you could use these in your classroom to talk about the masks that we're wearing now and how they've been used throughout history for different purposes in different places, or simply comparing textures, colors, sizes, maybe with a more basic group. So these are the kind of resources that are available to you, and I encourage you to explore. Helmara?
Yes, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm so excited with the Smithsonian too, Jenniffer, because it's a world, you know, it's a world to explore, right? And now we are going to talk about another, you know, resource that we have in the office and that I really appreciate. It's the English Club's material, right? So if you're planning, for example, to create an English club at your institution, in your school, or in your community, with your friends, here we have some material that can be used. It goes, you know, from different levels, right? You have 4 online manuals. They are all available at americanenglish.state.gov, right? At our, let's say, webpage there where you can get the materials. And you have different manuals, one specifically for learners, another one for members, another one for readers, and the concise guide. I don't know if you can see it, but I have the concise guide here with me, okay? It's really interesting because you can create, you can manage, facilitate, independent of your perspective. And the beauty comes in the next slide, Jenniffer. Yes? Yeah, because you can organize your English, your language club, right? In different, let's say, formats and in the classroom. Because sometimes we feel like, oh my God, but I only have a short time in the classroom. You know, I have classes twice a week with my students. But if you have like 10 minutes, you need to spend some time with your students to get it organized. Here you have 3 different suggestions on how you can do that. You can have the leader, the roles, specifically hierarchically speaking. You can also have them alternating, you have the members and then the leader and the assistant, or they can, for example, this week, João is the leader, next week, Mariana is the leader. They can kind of alternate. So you can establish or you can create this atmosphere amongst your students and kind of guide them, take a look at the material to see how that can happen. And then have like 10 minutes at the end of each class or once a week, or you can even stimulate them to create their own clubs, depending on their age, of course, during break time, or maybe after class, or maybe your school has what we call, or maybe it's called integral, and you have some time, for example, in the afternoon, if students are in the morning, you can help them get organized. So I think that English clubs can really extend the time you have with your students, okay? So that they can practice. And the material has suggestions on topics, suggestions on how you can assign the roles, check on the different styles of your students. There is a lot to explore in that material, so it's really nice to check it out.
In fact, Helmara, we also have a virtual English language club here in Brazil that's using some of these contents to have peer-to-peer discussion groups in the middle of the pandemic. So you don't have to use the material for a face-to-face club, but you can set up these extra practice opportunities virtually, right?
Yeah, now we are moving, our, let's say, our tips here or the activities that we really like, they're so flexible that you can adapt them, okay? You can use them online because now we are all virtual.
All right. How about this resource? I know you're a huge fan, Helmara.
I am. You know what? I received, Forum magazine at home a long, long time ago when we didn't have the internet, when we didn't have the option of let's say, assessing materials online. So I received it at home, long in the 90s, I'd say. So I'm a huge fan of Forum. It's a quarterly journal, and as it says in there, it supports English teaching. It's for teachers and by teachers. What does that mean? That means that you and a colleague, you and 2 other colleagues can write an article and submit. Okay, so this is made by teachers, right? For teachers and by teachers all over the world. So you can explore different...
In fact, Amara, sorry to interrupt you, but I want to challenge this group, because I think there are about 700 teachers who are logged in here and probably who will watch it later. We don't have enough articles in Forum that are written by Brazilian teachers. So I want to challenge you to write about some of the experiences you're having right now with virtual teaching and submit them to Forum. Our editor works carefully with international writers, and it would just be awesome to see your names in print. So find a friend, develop a group, and I would like to see your names in Forum. So there's a challenge today.
Yeah, that would be great, because we don't have many, you know, the numbers are very few, let's say, of Brazilian English teachers that have submitted their idea, because you don't need to submit an academic article this big. You know, you can submit a classroom tip, for example. You can submit ideas. There are so many things that you can do to collaborate with Forum magazine. Go there and check, okay? And you have a search engine. So for example, you are at americanenglish.state.gov, and then you go for Forum magazine there, and you would like to see articles on assessment, for example. You can download different articles that focus on this topic. Okay, and you can print them, you can share with other people, get together, discuss. There are different ways in which you can explore. And in the next slide, we have a screenshot there. Yes, of activities. Okay, so here, for example, you have activities that are also part of another publication that we have that's called The Lighter Side, but you have them in Forum magazine too. So at the end of the magazine, you have activities that you can use in your classroom. And these are so helpful anytime, you know, face-to-face, virtual. They are very practical for us teachers in the field.
I love these too, Elmara. And something else that I really love, another of my favorite things, number 9, is on Facebook. So I know some of you are asking in the chat box about Instagram and different, you know, I don't know, Twitter and so on. So our home office, American English at State, has a number of different social media equities. We have Relo Brazil, where we share everything with you. But we also have a brand new Teachers Corner. And so this Teachers Corner is called Access Teachers Corner. It's on Facebook. And I have to do a little explaining. It's open for everybody in the universe who teaches English and is interested in participating. But Access Teacher Corner was designed for our English Access Micro Scholarship program teachers. And so this is a program that we have in Brazil for hundreds of kids, mostly teenagers, but also young teachers, to learn English. And they come from less affluent or communities that don't have access to English. And so this Teachers Corner was created globally, because this is a program that exists in Bangladesh and Kazakhstan and Indonesia, Brazil, Mexico, everywhere, to create a community specifically around the teaching of teens. So if you teach teenagers, particularly from places that don't have a lot of resources, maybe in a public school, maybe you're remote, maybe your students don't have their own devices or a strong internet connection, this is a place where you can find discussions about how to teach teens in an effective way using low-tech and high-tech resources. So I wanted to show you, this is very, very new. It's only existed for about, I think, 2 months. And I went on the Facebook group, because I'm part of it, and I follow their discussions. Very active, very, very global, and all of you can participate. You just have to join the group. It's Access Teachers Corner on Facebook. And I was looking at things I thought would be kind of relevant. So for example, they had resources for virtual learning, On mobile messaging apps, we know that WhatsApp is very popular with students here. I don't know if students use Facebook Messenger. I've been told that Facebook is not cool for young people, but I don't know. I'm not very cool, so I'm not even very active on Facebook. But they also have an expert every month who asks questions and gives advice. This particular month was focused on strategies. So if you're interested, I encourage you to join. You're very welcome there, whether you're an Access teacher or just interested in teaching teens. It's a very, very vibrant community. So Helmara, we've covered a lot of ground, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yes.
We
are almost there.
We're almost there. And I'll use this as a summary slide, and then we would love to answer some questions, I guess. I want to give you a very special invitation tomorrow on our Facebook page at Relo Brazil, spelled the English way with a Z. We're going to have a conversation. It's like a bate-papo about teaching English. And it's the final part of our series. It'll be about 25 minutes long. We've done 7 different recordings, which are all available on our Facebook page, as well as the Relo Brazil website. And this one is going to be about leaders. So when we talk about leaders, we mean people like school directors or principals, administrators, people in the secretariat, people who make decisions about learning. And the idea is to talk about what's their role, how can they create a culture of positive learning around English, given the limitations of resources or hours in the curriculum. The conversation is going to be in Portuguese. Helmara will be leading the conversation with Jan Dormer, who's a specialist in the area and has a connection to Brazil. We're doing this series in Portuguese because we want you to be able to share with a wider community. The entire series was developed with the idea that there are a lot of parents, teachers of other subjects, community members, leaders, and stakeholders that need to receive an accurate, informed perspective about teaching and learning English. So you'll find in our series information about demystifying or decoding language proficiency, the role of the teacher, bilingual education, autonomous learning, all with the objective of wanting to reach a larger audience. So we invite you tomorrow to be part of our conversation, the 1st of July at 3 p.m. on Facebook Relo Brazil. And if you miss it because you're busy or teaching or you have some sort of life outside of being on Facebook, you can catch the recording later. It will be recorded on our page where you can watch it forever and ever and ever. So.
And Jenniffer, let me say something.
Oh,
I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm really sad. You know, this is our last conversa with Jan Dormer.
Yeah,
and, you know,
it's a really great series.
and you know why? Because she's great. You know, she has excellent ideas. So our colleagues here should really go and see what she has to share, because she inspires lots of people, and she shares very useful and contextualized tips, because she lived in Brazil in one moment of her life. So she knows what she's talking about. So come and check.
Yeah, don't miss out. More than that, we consider all of you our community. So it's great to be in touch today, even if it's for a quick half hour. The Regional English Language Office is part of the embassy and all of the US consulates in Brazil. We invite you to be part of what we're doing. We have lots of activities and resources, as well as a monthly newsletter. If you would like to be in touch with us and you're not already, send us an email at relobrazil@state.gov, and we can add you to our newsletter list or follow us on Facebook. We would love to see you in some of our meetings, our encounters, and our opportunities. I'm here today with Helmara de Moraes. I know many of you know her. She's worked in the office for a long time. And we have a third colleague who works in our office, Solange Smith, who works with our Access and digital programs. So we'd be delighted to hear from you, and we're very happy to answer a few questions if there's time now. So I will invite Megan, I guess, to facilitate that, and we would love to answer your questions.
Thank you, guys. So we have some more minutes, right? Let me check. 5 minutes. Do you want me to see questions here?
That would be great. We have plenty of time, and I think we wanted to make sure we had that interaction, because as English teachers, we find it very awkward to be speaking without receiving feedback. So we're happy to.
Someone is asking, do you have a representative in all Brazilian states?
I think the quick answer is yes. So our physical office right now is located in my house, Helmara's house, and Solange's house. but normally we work with the consulates and embassy, and then we work through partnerships. So we work with a lot of universities, with the network of binational centers that are associated with the U.S. Embassy and consulates, and other partners. So we have alumni, we have projects, we have programs everywhere. So I think from Amapá to Rio Grande do Sul, we definitely have projects. And if you would like to suggest a project or have an idea of how you'd like to connect with us, send us an email. We're always interested in considering new ideas, and we love to receive proposals from teachers.
All right. So there is one more. Is it only on Facebook tomorrow? I think that she's talking about the live. Only on Facebook?
Yes, yes.
We are, take that one.
yeah, we are broadcasting. We are streaming the interview on Facebook, as Jenniffer explained, at Rilo Brazil. Okay, at our Facebook page. So, but if you are not available and you would like to see it later, it's going to be recorded there, so you can check it later. But if you want to interact with us, with our participant, maybe have a question or something, you should be there at 3 p.m.
So we have one more left. Can you give us suggestions for young learners?
Yeah, so that's really interesting, right? Because here in Brazil, I think that a lot of teaching was traditionally focused on teens without as many resources for young learners. And with the new kind of emphasis on starting younger, bilingual education, there's much more demand. There are a couple of resources I would suggest. If you go to americanenglish.state.gov, there is a collection of resources that is focused on young learners. You can use the search function to look for that. And I know that there are a few webinars that have also been pulled together, all thematically on teaching English to young learners. And so that would be my starting place as just a bucket of really good resources that, like I said earlier, will probably lead you some other places. But I don't know, Helmara, if you have anything specific to add.
Yeah, I think that you covered, because most of our resources are more for teachers, right? But yes, if you search there, you will find, as Jenniffer explained, you know, in detail there are some things that are, I would say few of them specifically for young learners, but explore Voice of America too, right? And see what you can also find in there, you know, for young learners.
Yeah, that's probably worth just commenting on again, is that our office is focused on teachers and not really on learners of English. So we do have a few resources like the MOOCs we mentioned, and a few books and some songs for students, but very little of what we work with are for learners directly. Instead, what we have are lesson plans, ideas, music, videos, resources that can be used by the teacher to work with students. So I would hesitate to send a learner directly to our website, because I don't think they'll find a lot of really interesting things, but I would encourage teachers to go there, steal the pieces that are interesting to them, and then use them with their students. We just believe by investing in the teacher, we invest in many more students. And as a very small office, we know that the teacher is really the key to making instruction more attractive, more communicative, and of higher quality.
Okay, I would like to thank you for being here in this moment that we really needed something to be inspired, right? And thank you again for one more perfect initiative of Rilo. There is the conference, the TESOL conference, that you offered scholarship for Brazilians, teachers of English all over Brazil. So I'm always looking for everything and sharing to all my colleagues. And we really appreciate everything you do. I can tell, I can, can say it on behalf of Bahia teachers, because here we really appreciate it. And thank you so much again.
Thank you
so much
it's
for
been a
being
pleasure
here.
to be here.
Thank you, Margarete. And it's always, we all make a difference. So this is really important. We are professionals, we are teachers, and that's it.
Yeah, no, really a pleasure. So thank you for inviting us, and we welcome all teachers to be part of our network. So please join us.